Hey guys.
How's it going?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
All right. Okay.
Great.
We can actually get started, and there's a few more people that are going to be joining us afterwards. So, Alex, over to you, man.
All right, so hi everybody. My name is Alex Noviowski. I'm a mechanical engineering major here at UB. My sponsor is Nasir. He's also a mechanical engineering major at UB. This is a 4 basics training call for showing the plan. And if everybody could mute your mics and keep your videos on. So our first speaker's name is Rashab. He studies computer science at Florida Tech. And he's been going all over North America, building his business very quickly. And with that being said, let me bring up Rishabh.
All right, hey guys, how you guys doing? Can you hear me? Thumbs up.
Yeah. You're
All right, good stuff. All right, so I'm here to speak more about what you do before and after showing the plan. So first of all, before you show the plan, you obviously want to send a text beforehand saying that, hey, we have a meeting tonight. Just want to remind you, and can I get a confirmation? You want to do that because of one, so they remember, because a lot of the times what happens is that prospects, they kind of forget, especially if you did it on Sunday and the meeting's on Friday or Saturday or whatever it is. And then number two is because it also seems more professional. So you want to make sure that you send that text, so then it's not only making them remember, but you're also looking good as well. Second thing you want to do is send all the necessary details, which includes time, location, if it's a physical meeting, and obviously if it's a online meeting, you would send the online details. And three, what you do before the get an STP is basically that you hold high standards. So you tell them, maybe you might want to tell them to dress a little nicer, semi-casual, semi-formal. And it not only makes them take the meeting more seriously, it also edifies your coach, because, hey, it's a bit more of a formal thing. So you kind of want to have them impress the coach, whoever it may be. And lastly, another good reason why you want them to work semi-formal or whatever, have them be prepared, is that their clothes really psychologically make them more serious during the meeting. So if I wear slack off clothes, whatever, like casual tank top and shorts, then obviously I wouldn't take the meeting as seriously as if I were wearing a nice shirt, a button-down shirt, and maybe slacks. You know what I mean? So that's what you want to do before the meeting. And after the meeting, you basically want to book a concrete time. Make sure that you haven't, the next time you meet, there is a next time you can meet, and then you could push things forward. No BAM fam equals nice speech. That's literally a formula that you could remember, which basically means BAM is book a meeting from a meeting. That's BAM fam. And that basically means that if you spend time showing the plan to someone, you want to make that time that you spent useful by booking another meeting, because if things don't move forward, they're going to stay stagnant and you just wasted time by just showing a plan, right? So you want to make sure that your speech was worth it, the time you spent was worth it, by booking another meeting, and give them materials. So have them munch on something while until the next time you guys meet. So that might be BSM account, guest accounts. So showing them 1 or 2 videos or speeches on that account, on the guest account, or that could be just having them follow you on Facebook or on Instagram, if you have like an Instagram that's actually worth showing. So they have a general idea and perspective of how, like, what business is like and who you meet and all the exciting things. And if you can, also show the lit pack. And that's pretty much it. So Ryan will be actually speaking more about what you do during the plan. He's actually a student at UCF, and he's doing a lot of things in the business. He's growing, he's moving fast. He's under Abdullah. and let's just give him the mic over to him.
Okay, can everybody hear me? All right, awesome. So, yep, like Rishabh said, my name is Ryan and I'm from the Orlando team. My sponsor is Abdullah, and I work with my upline, Mohammed and Shabir, and they're also my coach. So the big question is, so what do you do as an IBO when your upline is the one showing the plan? You don't want to just let it slide easily because they're the one showing the plan, right? So, in other words, it's actually one of the most important things you have to consider during the process of showing the plan. To begin with, you will eventually have to introduce your upline to the guest. The introduction can be brief, but you have to make sure you have to have all the details, the important details. So it's brief but detailed. So what do I mean by detailed? If it makes sense, you'll have to tell their profession, what their major were when they graduated, and how well their experience is in the business. And okay, so this is used to show your coach and upline's success. You use them as your evidence, and you use them as your credibility as well. And in other words, so if you were to show your upline, if you were to show your guests how to properly introduce your upline, it will also show your guests and other people how you will determine how well you will do in your business later on. And once that part is done, you will let your upline take over, and he will start by showing the plan. Now, you have to make sure that just because he starts showing the plan, you don't do anything. You have to participate in it as well. What do I mean by participate? So as an IBO, you will always have to be paying attention, even though when you're not the one showing the plan. And there are multiple reasons to this. The guest will always assume the one who invited them as their role model. So if you were to be the one playing your handphone or sleeping, your guest will not take your upline seriously as well. At the same time, they will always look up to you, and they will not consider this business something very serious. Now, they will also probably assume that this business will be something easy, so they will just like take advantage of it, and then in the end they will have some issues and they'll go through several problems, and the result was because you weren't paying attention and you were being a bad role model. And moreover, as an IBO, your goal is not to get the people started. It's to ensure to start their business, because they can start their business whenever they want. This business is not about forcing people to get in it. The goal is to learn. The goal is to learn how your upline shows the plan, because one day you will be the one showing the plan. Your upline will not show the plan every time, every day, every minute for you, because they have a growing business. There's a lot of people they have to show the plan to. At the same time, if you always focus on trying to get people into the business only, it will also ruin your posture. Now, as you observe how your upline shows the plan, you're taking notes not on the content, but it's also important to know how they interact with the guest. For example, the questions your upline may ask your guest or not. If the guest asks questions, how would your upline respond to that? And it's actually a step-by-step process. You also have to take notes on the step-by-step process on how to elaborate on the key points when showing the plan, and many more. That way, you will eventually learn how to properly show the plan in the future. That's pretty much it for me. And I want to introduce our one and only Mohammed Khan. He graduated with a degree on mechanical and aerospace engineering. He is currently working in Northrop Grumman, which is a military defense contractor. He has a very successful business, still growing continuously in the United States and outside the United States. With that said, let's welcome Mohammed.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Ryan. Man, that was excellent. Rishabh, Ryan, both you guys, and I was actually taking a lot of notes as well. There's a few things that I wrote down, which I kind of like the way you said it. And Alex, man, hosting for the first time, well done. All right, very well done. It is not easy talking in front of a group for the first time, so I'm very proud of the way you presented yourself. So excellent, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, if you guys haven't been taking notes, you should probably start taking notes now. I'm going to give you the step-by-step breakdown on how to show the plan. Okay. Now, just so in the initial phases, most of you guys are pretty new or just starting to show your own plan. So we're going to try to keep one standard straight across all platforms. Okay. This is not going to be the way you will show your plan forever. In the last 3 years I've been building business, my plan has changed a lot. Okay. The way, and you could ask Shabir as well. He was the one that saw some of my first business plans. The plan I show today is not the plan I used to show before. However, if everyone shows the same plan, what we could do is we could find the irregularities or the inconsistencies, or, you know, if one of your friends keeps coming back with one particular excuse or one particular concern, we'll know that since the plan is being shown everywhere, we could identify where it's going wrong. Okay, so for the time being, we're going to keep everything standard. Okay, now we're going to use something called the slideshow. I'm sure a lot of you guys have already seen it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you could access it by yourself. Okay, so if you again take some notes, I'm gonna share my screen. I'm gonna walk you through every single step. Okay, I'm not gonna go into the exact details of what you say at every point, but I'm gonna give you like the headline that you use at every particular stage. That way, you know, as you see the plan done for yourself, you can kind of use it as a template and start filling gaps in. Okay, the idea is just like how Ryan said, right? Your people that are helping you out, you know, Shabir or myself, I love showing business plans. Okay. However, if that is the only stage you're going to be at, it is going to be very hard for us to help you at a higher level. The faster you could get the basics down, the faster we could help you at a higher level. The end goal of this business isn't to show business plans forever. Okay? The end goal is to get a lot of money. Okay. And the faster you can learn the basics, the faster Shabir and I can start helping you at a higher level. Okay, where, you know, how do you organize organizations, or how do you build teams, how do you handle, you know, conflicts within organizations, stuff like that. Okay, so do take notes. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I hope everyone can see this. Okay, so Brit Worldwide has a technology package called the WebSpace. The WebSpace domain name is like $14 a year, and I think the WebSpace itself is like $10-something a month. It's actually very relatively cheap. Okay, so I would recommend at some point all of you guys get on Tech Bundle. Until that point, feel free to use my account. Okay, so the website is connations.com. Okay, you go there. Now what you do is you click on business options. And it's going to take you to a page like this. Okay, it's going to show you a quick video. Feel free to watch the video. It's very nice. Okay, but what you're going to do is you're going to click here. Okay, when you do that, I'm accessing it the way a guest would access it. Okay, when you get here, it's going to ask you some details. So I'm just going to put my name. Okay, phone number's not necessary. Email, whatever. Okay, and the password is all lowercase guest. G-U-E-S-T.
Take a talking shower.
Okay. When you get to this point,
we're helping people across the country get extra.
Okay. When you get to this point, you're going to have the option of showing a lot of different plans. Okay, I'd recommend you go through some of them just so you could see the different types. It's the same information presented in all different cases, right? But the one I personally like to use, and the one we're going to start using, is the slideshow, right? Not the short one, the long one. Okay, so you click on slideshow here, and it's going to bring you to this page. For those of you guys I have shown business plan for, you've probably already seen this, you know, many times. Oops. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of give you the top level points on what to share. Okay, so I'm going to just go through every slide. Sorry. We're going to go through particular slides. I'm going to show you the basic idea you want to present at each thing. Okay, showing the business plan itself. If you're sitting down with someone, if you're doing this by yourself, the entire business itself should not take more than 20, at most 25 minutes. The first 5 or 6 minutes is just the icebreaker. Hey, how's it going? How's the weather? You know, what's your favorite pizza? Something, right? Just to break the ice, okay? Then you get into the business plan, okay? So the first thing is what I like to do is I like to go at this point, okay? Now, what you want to remember while showing the plan is the idea of showing the plan, you're trying to basically achieve 2 objectives. Number 1, present the actual information, obviously, right? Show them what the business is. Second, you want to answer some of the concerns you're going to hear at the end inside the business plan. Okay, some common concerns: no money, no time, you know, is this legal? Things like that. Those are 5. There's 5 or 6 basic questions you will always get. Okay, the 2 biggest ones is time and money, which is actually very conveniently written right here. Okay, so what I do here is I say, you know what, here's what we're going to go over. Okay, because you want to tell the guy, you don't want to just kind of go into, you know, an endless presentation, right? You want to tell the person right from the, hey, today what we're going to do is we're going to go over a little bit about time and money. I'm going to show you what the business is about, and we're going to have a little bit of a discussion of how entrepreneurship works. Okay, very basic. You know, it doesn't have to be very profound. What I do here is I answer one of the concerns right away. Okay, by saying, you know what, when you're building a business, okay, it's not about how much time you invest. It's about how smart you're investing your time. Because at the end, I'm sure for those of you guys that have been showing business plan, you've probably heard, hey, I don't know if I have time for this. Okay, it's a very common concern. Okay, but what you do is you're covering it ahead of time. Okay, it's not about how much time you put in. The time you could put in could be more, it could be less, it could change. But it's not about the time. It's about how smart you're willing to use your time. Okay, because the idea is you want to cover the concerns out of them, right? So that's the first thing I mentioned here, and you've probably heard me say a couple other things, but we're gonna stick to that standard. Okay, cover the time part right away. Okay, so that's the first thing. Okay, and then the second thing I mentioned is, but throughout the rest of this plan, we're going to cover a very top level overview. Okay, the second concern you usually get is, hey, what is it that I do, right? What am I doing? What is the details? How does this work? So you tell them right away, I'm not going to go over any of that right now. Okay, if they ask you, hey, everything's beautiful, everything looks amazing, I love the sound of your voice, but what do I do exactly? Okay, it's very hard to go over all the details in one sitting, so you can listen. All we're going to do today is go over the top level. Okay, I'm going to show you the basic concept of how this works. The next time we catch up, we're going to go over the specific day-to-day details. That's the third concern I've covered. Okay, I've already told them I'm not going to do everything here. We're going to have another meeting, just like what Rishabh said, right? Bam, fam, book a meeting from a meeting. I'm already going to book a meeting. I'm just letting him know ahead of time. Okay, so that's that. The last thing I mentioned here at this slide is I say by the time I'm done, I'm going to connect you on the phone with my coach, so he could say a quick hello to you because I told him I'm meeting you. Okay. Again, what you're doing is, if you're showing the business plan by yourself, if your upline isn't directly there, you want to still be able to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to connect you so that when you put your coach on, myself, Shabir, whoever it may be, we can shine the light back on you and give you the credibility that you need. Okay, so the whole idea of this part right here is to set up an expectation for the remainder of the business, of the session. Okay. If you didn't catch all of that, it's okay. I'm recording this, so you guys can feel free to go back through this, okay? But that's basically what I cover here, okay? Now, what I do is I actually skip through a couple of slides, okay? And I come to this one, okay? Because I want to tell them right away, hey, I'm not gonna, because the idea is that you don't want to, you know, just keep selling a dream forever. You don't want to say, oh man, you could be rich, you could be this. Most people are acting on survival mode, right? They're just trying to make, you know, enough to pay rent. If you start telling them that you could buy a Ferrari, that's it. Can't relate to them no more at that point. Okay. So what I do is I say, forget all that. Let me just show you what it is. Kind of get straight to the point. So what I tell them, there's 2 parts to the internet: a social network and a supply network. Okay. These are the only 2 types of websites you'll find online: social network, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Supply network is basically a product, a website that sells you something. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually putting these both together. Okay. If I am going too fast, please do unmute yourself and tell me. Okay. I'm going to assume everyone is with me unless I hear that. Okay. So you tell them, social network, Facebook, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Supply network, something that sells you something. Okay. Supply social network, you've already been doing. Your whole life, you've been adding friends on Facebook. You've been meeting new people. You've had more phones and numbers in your phone book. You're already doing this. Okay. Supply network, you've probably bought some things online. Okay. This is how businesses run. What we're going to do first is talk about the supply network. Okay, so you want the continuity to flow, right? You want to keep tying things back in with you. So the first idea we're going to go over is the supply network. Okay, from there, that's where I go straight into, again, I personally just skip a few slides. I go straight into Amway. The supply network we use is called Amway. Okay, now again, I'm going to cover another concern here. Some people have heard of Amway and they understand how impressive of a platform that they've developed over the last 60 years. Some people may not have the same understanding of it. Okay, so what you do is I don't want to get into like an argument with anyone, right? So what I do is like, hey, listen, Amway is great. I'm sure you've already heard of it. Okay, and they'll say whatever they say. Okay, and then I ask them, what do you know about it, so that I know where to begin. Okay. The idea of that is that I want this to feel open. Okay. If I go right away and say, hey, Amway's amazing, I don't care what you think, then it's very one-sided, right? You're trying to relate to the person. Okay. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about how the person feels by the time you leave. Okay. So, hey, Amway's a big deal. I'm sure you've heard of it already. And they'll say whatever they got to say, right? Good things, bad things, whatever. Then you say, listen, and that's great. Let me show you what I've seen. Okay. Then from here, I give them a few facts about Amway. Okay. If I go on saying Amway's amazing, I love it, they make me feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside, they're going to be like, there's something wrong with this guy, right? This guy's in a love affair with some big multi-level company, right? That's not what you're trying to do, right? You want to give them facts. Okay, facts speak for themselves. So a few facts that I personally use. Okay. Number one, I say that they are the 29th largest website in the world. Okay. Second thing, they're the #1 direct selling business in the world today. And they've been there for like the last 10 years. Okay. Number 3, I mentioned that they own the Orlando Magics, and they have their facility in the Amway Stadium here in Orlando. Okay, people that follow sports, I guarantee you they've heard of the Amway Arena or the Orlando Magics. Okay, it's a very big selling point. Number 4. Okay, the guy that owns Amway also served as a president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Okay, you don't become the president of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce by accident. That is a very prestigious position. Okay, the fact that you're tied up with someone that is affiliated in such a way should really erase any legality stuff right off the bat. So those are the first few things I mentioned. Okay, if you want to continue on, what I say is, hey, listen, they also sponsor the coaches poll at the NCAA tournament. Those of you guys that watch college football, that's a big deal. Okay, the Amway coaches poll. Check it out online yourself. There's like, it's a big trophy. Amway is written all over it. Good selling point. Okay, so that's what I explain here. I give them a little bit of facts, because when you say things like that, it makes more of an impact. Okay, so that's Amway. And then what I do is I take one step back. I say, you know what? There's only 2 reasons I decided to go with Amway. Number 1, I say, all this is great. There's only 2 reasons. Number 1, they have the biggest network in the world. Okay, that's why I'm able to expand my business in many countries. Okay, Like actually Ryan on the call right here, he actually just started his business in Australia. Okay, do you believe that? Sitting here in the United States, in Florida, he's going to be starting to earn Australian dollars. That is how powerful of a vehicle this is. So number one is the biggest network in the world, so I can operate in a lot of countries easily. Number two, they've been number one in the world in direct sales for the last decade. So it just made sense to go with the best. Okay, so the whole idea here, right? Again, I'm trying to cover some concerns. They're gonna search things online. Okay, and actually, I encourage you guys to check it out online as well. Right? Type in Amway is bad or something. Okay, I guarantee you'll find some funny stuff there. Okay, you'll hear people like, you know what? I tried an XS and it made me sign a mortgage, and I lost my home. It's all Amway's fault. Okay, you'll hear very, very strange stories. I've actually seen them myself. Okay, obviously not that one particular, but you get the point, right? But the idea here is that you want to give them these facts so that when they do see that stuff like that, they start thinking, wait a minute, Shabir had told me this, and I see this. Hold on, let me check something out. Okay, gets them to think. Okay, so that's the main thing here. Now you've described what Amway is. Okay, now what I do is I cover what they do. Okay, so I say one part of their business is just major retailers. Okay. Now, just like you guys know, major retailers are there. You don't make a lot of money from these major retailers. Okay, the reason is because the profit is being split in multiple different ways, right? You get a portion, Amway gets a portion, Macy's gets a portion, and they also have expenses. So you don't make as much. However, the fact that Apple, Target, these guys put their name next to Amway's, okay, I guarantee you, Apple has more lawyers than the amount of information we could find on Google. Okay, so I mention this to add again to the credibility. Okay, no one knows more than Apple. Okay, if Apple put their name next to something, they've probably done more research than your roommate. Okay, I mean, I don't say that, but I imply it because these are big names, right? These aren't like rinky-dinky little stores. Okay, so I say the idea here is that you could share profits with some of these guys, and maybe you could get some discounts. Then what I do is I go over to the exclusive brands. And I mentioned this is where the bulk of our income comes. Okay. The idea behind these products is that they're everyday, day-to-day products. You are going to buy them no matter what. Okay. Artistry, beauty, mascara, lipstick, also hand soap, face wash, right? Basic hygienic stuff. Neutral and excess, things to eat and drink. Legacy of clean, things to clean your home. Basic things. You're already buying this stuff. Not these brands, but these types of products. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go too much more here, but you could kind of explain. Maybe you could give some personal testimonies or whatever, but talk a little bit about the products. Okay. Basic data. This is where the bulk of our income comes in. Okay. Now what I do is I start going into the circles. I explain how the money works. Again, I'm not going to go into details of it, because again, it'll go beyond the scope of it. Right? If you start sitting there calculating numbers for them, you're going to get confused. They're going to get confused. And 45 minutes later, you're still not going to know what either one is talking about. Okay, so don't even bother going down that direction. That will be in the follow-up. That is something that Shabir, myself, Nasser, someone's going to help you with. Okay, but for now, just basic, right? So the idea of any business is to do two things: generate revenue and build teams. Okay, we're going to first talk about the revenue. Okay, now this blue circle represents your online profile. The idea is to start generating revenue through here. Okay, it's whatever you need for yourself and whatever customers you get through that. Okay, very simple. Revenue is personal and client. That's it. Okay, there's no quota, and I specifically mention that, right? Because there are other companies that have quotas, meaning if you don't hit a certain threshold, you actually don't make anything ever, right? You actually lose money. You owe the company more money. Okay, so there's no quotas, there is no minimums, no maximums, and I tell them, do not buy stock. Okay, again, if you go online, there's other companies that people have had issues where they bought tons of stock and they lost money. So I know the concerns that are coming. I'm mentioning it in the plan. Okay? Buy what you need for yourself. Get some customer volume. There's no quotas, minimum, maximum, and don't buy stock. Okay, that's really all that goes on here. And then whatever revenue you generate, you make a percentage of based on this performance scale. The more money that goes to your account, the more money you make back. That's it. Okay. I'm just gonna give you guys a few seconds. I know some of you guys are smoke coming out of your pens.
Mohammed,
Yes. Who?
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, it's Ryan.
Yes, Ryan.
So the one you mentioned before is the United States Chambers of Commerce, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Again, you guys, I showed you how to access this. This is all available for you as well. Okay. Any other questions before I move forward?
Sorry, what was the password for the
All lowercase guest.
guest? Okay, thanks.
Anything else before I move forward? Again, this is not like a one-time thing, all right? You may have to, again, I'm recording this, you may have to go through this a couple times. But again, really, the way I learned it was really just by observing, Dr. Nair or when Vinod was showing the plan for me, okay? When they showed the plan, even if it wasn't my plan, I would purposely show up, right? Because I knew I'd have to do it at some point anyway, right? I figured at some point I wasn't going to stick around in Buffalo. I needed to learn it myself. So even when Dr. Nair and Vinod had their own personal business plans going on, I would ask them and actually tag along. So I would encourage you guys to do the same. Okay, back to this. So that's that part. Buy what you need for yourself, get some customers, don't waste money on stock, and there's no quotas. 4 main things you cover here. Okay? The more money that goes in, the more profit you get back. Then here I say this is where the social networking part comes in. Okay? You identify other people that want to work with you. Okay? Now again, I'm going to cover another concern. You don't want to convince no one. The goal isn't to just get people in. Okay? Because again, these are things you'll probably hear, and you probably already heard. So again, you covered in the business plan, so it doesn't show up later. Okay? No convincing, no need to persuade. Don't bother your friends. Look for people that are genuinely interested. And that's really the whole idea, right? If you, everyone on this call, right? At any point, did anyone that showed you the business plan really have to like harass you to get in? Probably not. Okay, which is why it was a genuine interest match, which is why it's working well. Okay, so you want to find other people like that as well. Okay, so the idea is to do that. When you start identifying these people, your network increases. And these guys have the same access to all the products and services you do. And we're going to help them do the same thing. The more revenue that goes through your entire business, plus your network, the more money you make back. From what I've seen, and I specifically mentioned that, right?
What?
When you build a team of 10 to 15.
No, you're good. Are you sure? Okay. No.
Sorry, someone have a question? Okay. When you build a team of 10 to 15 people, your average income is $200 to $300. And I say that with a grain of salt, saying this is what I've seen on average. Not always the case, but from what I've personally seen. Okay, that is not like a legal thing that I've just said, but on average, from what I've seen. Okay.
On average, how much?
On average, it even says right here, the average monthly gross income for active business owners in the U.S. is about $200.
Oh, how much is if you get 10 to 15 people?
It's about $200. Right? 10 to 15 people, it means you'll be at the 12 to 15% sharing bracket. Okay? 1,000 PV, 1,500 points. That's about how much you'd be at. Okay? That is for you to know, not to explain. They're not going to get it. Okay? But that's on average. Okay? And I specifically say average because it's based on revenue, not on how many people you get in. If you have 4,000 people in your team that each does 1 PV, your business volume's at 4,000 points. If you have 4 people in your team that are doing 1,000 PV each, it's the same business. Okay, that's just for you to know. Okay, so the bigger your network, the bigger your net worth. Okay. Now, here what I mentioned is again, I'm sure you guys have already heard of it, pyramid. Okay. I know it's coming. Some of you guys may do research. Someone's going to mention it. So I cover the pyramid question here. I say, listen, if you have built 6 teams, you're going to make a percentage multiplied by 6 teams. Let's say Bob over here built 10 teams. It's not illustrated, but I want you to just follow along. I say that, right? If Bob builds 10 teams, he makes a percentage times 10 organizations. Okay? Just so that you guys know. If you guys know how to calculate your differential checks, every time you have a different team, you get a different differential bonus. Meaning you get, one team's check plus another team plus another. So you make the number of checks depending on how many teams you have. So if you make 6 checks and Bob makes 10 checks, Bob is going to make more money. End of story. So what that does is it prevents the guy on top from always making the most money. The person with the biggest teams will build the biggest income. Okay. Yes, you will make a percentage of Bob's, and the percentage you make through here will be bigger, but multiplication always grows faster than addition. Okay, that's the easiest way I found to explain it without going too much into these numbers. If you guys do find a better, more effective way to say it, just let me know. We'll talk about it, and then we could implement that.
Sorry, Mohammed, just repeat the last statement you said.
The last statement.
Multiplication.
Multiplication will always grow faster than addition. So if you're making a check times 6 and Bob is making a check times 10 will always make more money. Okay, so I've covered the pyramid. And I specifically say, just like in corporate America, the corporate pyramid, where the guy on top always makes the most, here it doesn't matter. Okay, there was actually a time in my business where Shabir made more money than I did. Okay, when Shabir got his $1,000 bonus, he made at least 3 times what I made that month, even though I started before him. Okay, so it's not a pyramid. Okay, whoever builds the biggest, most profitable structure makes the most money. Okay, and then I say, as time goes on, it's unlimited. You can build as many teams as you want, go as far as you want. The top of the scale is 25%. Around that point, you make about $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Okay, then I go into published incomes. I say Q12 Platinum, that's 25%. That's about 55 grand in addition to your job. Okay, and then there's a lot of numbers here. I tell them, hey, listen, I can introduce you to people that have made this income. For all the cities you guys are in, I guarantee you somewhere you have access to either an upline emerald or an upline diamond. Okay, in Buffalo, you have Manoj and Arpita. They're in the process of reaching a platform called Emerald. Okay, Rushmi was there last week or the week before. He's an executive diamond. That means he makes more than what a diamond does. Okay, here in Orlando, we have access to Rick Fairchild, Dave Muthnath, and all the guys in the Orlando team. Okay, in Pittsburgh, you guys have access to Vinoda Nabila. There's another emerald there. Shabir, if you could remind me the name.
Bill and Renee Housley.
Yes, Bill Renee. All right, you guys have access to these emeralds. Okay, in New York City, you have access to one of the most amazing Brit Opens I've ever seen in Manhattan. Okay, Jerry and Leanne Tan. JoJo's actually probably has met them already. Brilliant speaker, right? You have access to people that have made this money. I want you to know that, so that when you say it, you can say it with confidence. Okay, these aren't just make-believe numbers, right? You could actually introduce your guest to someone that makes this income. Okay, put that in whatever words that you want. Okay. Again, I personally just skip this because if I tell him you could go to Las Vegas while this guy's trying to figure out rent, it's not relatable. Obviously, if you're showing the business plan to older people, like people in their 30s and 40s, where going to Las Vegas is more realistic, you could talk about it. You could say you get free trips there. You tell it's a sophomore in college who's surviving on ramen noodle. There's no connection there, right? So be able to relate to people. Okay, so that's Amway. Okay, now Amway, again, all they do is provide products and services and profit sharing. Okay, 90% of, and I said 90% of our time is spent in Brit Worldwide. And again, all of you guys that have been working for at least a month or so know that, right? How many times has the word Amway showed up in any of our conversations? Or if you work with Shabir in their conversations? Maybe once when you had to place your order for a fast track. Maybe once when you moved a customer product. Maybe once we were talking about getting the check. How much more Amway is involved, right? But every single time you've probably talked about the team, the open meeting, the BSMs, the books, the mentorship, the functions. That is where most of the work is, the Brit Worldwide Mentorship Program. The idea behind Brit Worldwide is to show you how to properly use Amway. Okay, so you go into a little detail, and this is where I usually tell my personal testimony, right? Manoj was actually the guy that showed me the business plan. Okay, Om invited me to a small home plan in, actually, if you guys go through John, his name is John in Rochester. He was in SUNY Buffalo at the time. He invited me there, and Manoj was doing the plan. Now Manoj, for those of you guys that know, is the director of operations at Bell Aerospace. Why would a guy like that be doing something like this? Someone who is already where I want to be in my career, but still making, a change. Okay, so this is you insert whatever personal testimony you have. Okay. Okay, and you could do that to whatever extent. Whoever's showing the plan for you could see how it's done, so on and so forth. However you want to do it. Okay. But that's that. Okay. From here, I usually go to the Facebook page. I go through a few posts to kind of show them the bigger thing, right? And again, that you could kind of just do, right? Just Facebook page, go through a few posts. Okay. Once that's done, right? Let me actually close the screen just like how I would do it. Okay, that is it. The computer is done now. Okay. Now what I do is I cover 4 major concerns. Again, I've already covered it in the business plan, but again, repetition is key. Okay, so I cover 4 major concerns. Number 1, time. Okay, now if I tell the person, hey, you know what, you will have time for this, there's no way you're too busy for this. Okay, what you've just done there is you've poked their ego. Okay, at this point, it's not about who's right or wrong. It's about the guy is now upset with you. Okay, so I tell him myself, right? And again, personally, when I got started, and you guys can tell whatever story, you whatever relates to you more. When I personally got started, I was taking 22 engineering credits. I was starting a fraternity. I was doing research, and then I was doing this, along with however many other clubs I was a part of, rocketry, nanosats, stuff like that. Okay, I was doing a lot of crazy stuff. Okay, and it wasn't because I'm some kind of time expert guru, whatever. It's just I learned to manage my time. Right? So I tell them, hey, I understand if you're busy. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. This is what I found out. The initial stages of the business takes only a couple hours a week during your checklist. Okay? A couple hours a week. What does that consist of? Number 1, learning the materials that I give you. Number 2, going through those materials, and we'll catch up throughout the week so we can learn from each other. And number 3, meet up with the team at least once a week. That's it, right? Who here is within their first, actually, who's the newest person to call? Alex. Alex, you can unmute yourself for a sec, okay? And be honest, right? Within your first few weeks, okay? Actually, me and you have been working together, right? What have you done outside of these 3?
Can you say the second 2 again? I'm sorry.
No. You go through the materials, right? I've given you some materials to go look through, right? Mm-hmm. We've caught up a couple times during the week to discuss what we've learned. Uh-huh. And then meet up with the team once a week. Uh-huh. Right? Have you done anything else crazy outside of that? I know we showed one business plan, right? But anything else that you've done outside of that? Alex, by the way, is brand new. He's the newest person on the call. Have you done anything outside of these three things, Alex? Be honest. You could tell me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
Okay. Can anyone on this call that has ever done anything, right? Can you think of anything else you've done within your first 3 weeks outside of these three things?
No.
All right. I want you to understand that first, because if the question is within you, it is going to sound not as convincing when you say it. Okay. This is all the initial stage text, right? So when people say they're not busy, what they're really, actually, I'll cover that at the end, right? But time. Okay. I mentioned these two. And that's all it takes. Okay. And then I tell them again. I'm trying to relate and say, hey, listen, there are going to be times where you may be busy. There are going to be times where I may be busy. We'll work together on our schedules together. Okay. I don't want to think that, okay, it is 7:36 p.m. You need to stay here for 45 minutes and then you can go. Right? First of all, that's super weird. All right. So don't do that. Okay. Please don't operate your business like that. All right. You're not a boss. But if you understand that, then it's easier for you to say it. Second concern is money. Okay. Now here's where I personally had a lot of problems. Okay. Because when I got registered, yes, everyone here is paid the $2 amount of money for the license. Okay. When I put it down, I was comfortable with it. Okay. But when I started showing my first few business plans, when I got to the money part, and again, I'm talking from my personal experience, I was very hesitant. Right. Whenever I got to them, I was, hey, there's a license, it costs $200. So you just sign here and then you can move forward.
Well, can you repeat that?
I was nervous when I mentioned the $200.
No, I mean the whole animation.
Huh? The whole. I would be so wishy-washy about the number. I would be like, hey man, it costs this license costs money. And then I would build this gigantic building around the $200. I would go all the way around it 47 times. And then at the end, it's like, hey, it's $200. All right, I'll see you later. And then run away. Okay? It is okay if you feel uncomfortable as well. I've done it myself.
I know someone who's called Amway Maway.
Okay? I've done it myself, and it's okay. Okay? You've never done anything like this before, so it is uncomfortable asking for money. I completely understand. My first few sales were pretty weird too. Okay? I gave the guy a product, and I was like, hey, it cost, let me just show you how much it costs. Give me this much money. Whenever you get a chance, right? Whenever you get a chance. You don't have the money right now? Keep the product. It's okay. Pay me in 4 months. Okay? I've done weird things like that. It was very uncomfortable for me to collect money from people. Okay? But you have to get over it. Okay? If you put the money down to get started, you obviously thought it was worth it. So you should know that the other person, it is worth it for them as well. So be bold when you ask for the money. Okay? The money's not coming to you anyways, right? You're not making any money off of it. Okay? The words 180 or so goes towards Amway. Okay? In Canada, it's a little bit different, but that part goes to Amway. And the other 35 or so goes towards their first set of books and CDs. What do you make out of it? Nothing. Right? So don't be afraid to ask. Okay? When people look at you, their real question is going to be like, do I really want to, is Muhammad comfortable doing this? Because I'm going to be depending on his skills and his confidence to build this. If he's not confident in himself, how is he going to help me? So you want to be bold. Okay? I tell him straight off, like, hey, listen, I tell him exactly like, hey, the second concern I usually get is money. This license costs $220. None of that comes to me. It goes straight towards your website and your education program. Okay? Now, imagine if I said it like that, you'd be like, okay, Muhammad knows what you're talking about. If I say, hey, the license cost a little bit of money, you could pay, how confident would you be in whoever was saying things like that to you, right? Probably not so much. And it's okay if that's how you start. That's how I started as well. Okay, so be okay with that. Okay, you're gonna have the more you mess up now, the funnier the stories will be later. Okay? We're all going to be hanging out at the beaches of the world, right? You have to have some stories to tell, right? If everything worked out for you perfectly, I don't want to hang out with you, man. You had the easy way out. I had to struggle with this, right? So go screw up a little bit so we can relate a little bit, okay? Okay, so that's the money part, okay? License costs $220. There's nothing outside of that, okay? And I tell them straight up, it may be difficult for you. I'm going to leave that on to you to figure out. Okay? You guys all figure it out. I figured it out. You figure it out. If you need help, let me know. We can talk about it. Third concern I get, and I mentioned, hey, listen, the third concern I usually get is opinions of family and friends. Okay, and again, you guys have all shown enough plans to see that when the person comes back to you, hey, listen, my mom's uncle's grandfather's great third removed cat, you know, he spoke to his other cat buddy, and they told me Amway is not that good of a business. Okay, you've probably all heard something like that. Okay, I've heard it too. Okay, it's not uncommon. Okay, what you do is you already know that's coming, so you mention it. Hey, listen, I personally knew someone that used to build this in India who did it the wrong way. He used to put boxes of stuff in a product in a box. He used to sell it door to door. Okay. Do you think I want to build a business like that? Okay. And you can mention to yourself, hey, I'm a college student, or hey, I'm a professional worker. You think I want to go door to door and sell stuff? Okay. You think I like getting shot? No. Okay. That is not how this business works. Okay, and again, you want to be bold about it, right? You may step on a few toes, and it's okay. Okay, once you know where the line is that you don't want to cross, you have to first find that line before you can decide how far you go, right? So find the line. You may overstep it a few times and piss someone off. It's okay. Okay, so find the line. Okay, so family friend, hey, listen, I tell them, hey, do you know someone in your family that has run a successful business? If they say yes, hey, that is the person you want to talk to. If they say, and I say, hey, listen, do you know anyone that has run the Amway business before? And they're like, yeah, my uncle back somewhere did it. I ask them, did they run it successfully? Chances are they're not, okay? Because if they had, they would have already been IBOs. Okay, chances are they haven't. So I tell them, hey, listen, if you ask them for advice, they will give you advice that will give them the same results. So here's what I'm gonna give you materials to take a look at to do it yourself. And look it up online, get some credible research, right? Here's a few websites that I give them, okay? The first one is bbb.org, Better Business Bureau, okay? Amway has an A+ rating there. You can't fake that, okay? Second thing, I tell them to go to Forbes, okay? Forbes, if you guys are familiar with Forbes magazine, all right? They do business stuff, all right? Forbes magazine, okay? Then I tell them, hey, look up the Amway Arena in Orlando. Okay. Again, they'll find their websites. You know, they say Big Amway next to Orlando Magics, right? You can't fake that. Okay. Then I tell them, go to, and there's a few other websites you could talk to whoever. But you give them some things to take a look at. I also give them my personal guest account through BSMs or some literature pack. Okay. So that's the third concern I cover. The last concern I cover, it doesn't show up as often, but it will from time to time, is legality. Okay, this usually comes up with international students. Okay, and it's very common. It's not uncommon for someone to say, hey, I'm not allowed to work in this. Okay, for legality, I say, listen, I know you're an international student. Your social security number 1 is not required. It's usually the first concern. Number 2, I tell them this does not require a W-2 tax form. Okay, I believe in Canada it's a little bit different, but again, the employee tax form and self-employed tax form, the ideas are very similar. Okay, I don't remember the exact number, but I tell them, you are not allowed to work off campus with a W-2 tax form. Okay, just because of the regulations of your visa. However, a 1099 you can have an unlimited amount of. Okay, the one example I give personally, and you can come up with whatever example you feel is better, is I say if you were to buy a car for $1,000 and you sold it for $1,500, you as a non-US citizen have earned a profit in this country. The way you file taxes on that is through a 1099. And that is the same tax form used in this business. Okay, there are going to be times where the guy's like, everything makes sense, but I still don't believe it. Nothing you could do about that. It'd be okay. Just say next. Okay, but your job is done. You presented the information. Okay. Any questions? I know we've been going very fast. Again, I'm recording this. Feel free to go back and check this out later. But that's it for the plan. At this point, I actually put my coach on the phone. Okay, when I was first showing my business plan, I already told the guy at the beginning, hey, I'm going to put my coach on the phone with you. Okay, a couple hours before that, I've already told Vinod or Ratan or someone, hey, I'm meeting someone at 5 o'clock. At around 5:50 or so, I'm going to give you a call to connect. Okay. At this point, after everything is done, I put him on the phone. I say, hey, Vinod, I'm sitting here with so-and-so. Can you say a quick hi? Vinod does his thing. You get the phone back, and you book another meeting. Bam. Book a meeting from a meeting. Okay. Man, need some water. Okay. Any questions? That is as simple as I can make the platform structure of this business. If you guys have been taking avid notes, you'll see that when Shabir, Nasser, myself, when anyone shows the plan for you, it is basically going to follow this structure. Okay, this is how I personally do it. If I know Nasser and Shabir showed different plans, okay, it is not wrong. It is just their personality type. They run it the way they do it. Okay, but just use this as a structure. Okay, I'm going to open it up for a couple of seconds. Any questions, comments, concerns on anything I spoke of? Anything that wasn't clear? Anything that you want me to go over again? I want to make sure this is good.
I have one question.
Yes, Rituja.
So when you log into your website, we type in your email address, right?
You put in yours.
Okay.
Yeah, put your email address in. I just put mine. All it does is it just sends me a notification saying that someone's on my site, and I usually just delete it. So.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? No. Cool. Awesome. I think with that we're pretty much done. I'm gonna actually just pass it over to Shabir for a sec, for him to share like a quick 1 or 2 nuggets on kind of, because again, I when Shabir first started showing his plans, all the mess ups you guys are gonna go through, he's already gone through. Okay, so and the thing I like about Shabir is that he actually has a better startup ratio than I do. Okay.
Thank you, Mohammed.
Okay, he's actually been able to show more plans that get a better startup ratio than I do. Okay, people actually contact him to get started. So weird. I don't know how that happens. Okay, so Shabir, just real quick, all right? I know the second week Night Owl call is going on, but one or 2 points that you want to give to people. Well, we'll kind of wrap it up from there.
I mean, everybody did a great job. Ryan, Alex, awesome work. Mohammed, of course, and anybody better than him at building the business. I would just say be confident with the mistakes. If you make a mistake, it's fine. The first plan I showed, I forgot the whole part of Brit Worldwide completely. And Mohammed's sitting there watching me and going, awesome work. And I'm like, really? I can do it? Yeah. The next plan I showed, the guy said, oh man, I understand everything. I know everything about this business. And I'm like, what? Mohammed, do you have anything to talk about? And I passed it over to him. I was like not confident at all. So it's okay. If we two are there, then you can always see if we missed out something and you can always pass it down. But then the fact that you showed the plan is more than enough. And because I did that, 10 plans later, I perfected my plan, and now you can't even stop me before I book a plan. I booked a plan in Paris, I booked a plan in Sydney, I booked a plan in any country I talk about just because of the same lame slideshow that I learned because I made so many mistakes. So honestly, Mohammed's doing the best job you can, so he did a perfect job at giving you a very simple breakdown. So just follow that. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you for holding the call and letting me talk.
Yeah, no problem. Awesome, guys. If there are no other questions, that is it. I'll be uploading this. You guys can contact me directly if you want this. Actually, let me just stop recording here for a sec.